Welcome to Fresh Perspectives, a series with professionals who have insights. And today I'm with Matt Day of Brand Ambition. Matt works with marketeers all over Europe on the art of the meaningful few. Matt, would you like to unpack that phrase for us a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, John. Thanks for the opportunity to talk today. I focus on helping people get to the small number of things that are going to have an outsized impact in terms of their performance, either individually for their brand, because I'm working mainly with marketeers, and ultimately for their company performance. So the thinking is that there are normally just a handful of things, which once you've discerned what those things are, and you execute on those few things, that they are the things that will deliver the results. So it's about focusing on the meaningful few and trying to avoid the massive amount of noise that might otherwise distract us.
Okay. And doesn't everyone do that in marketing?
Well, you would like to think so, right? But I think it's one of these things that is very easy to say and actually very difficult to do. Um, what's happening if you look at the landscape in which marketeers are operating? I mean, it's no exaggeration to say that virtually everything is changing, and it's changing at a rate faster than previously. So it's difficult. It's difficult to do because what happens is the landscape changes so much that it creates layer upon layer of new initiatives as we try and react and respond to changes in the outside world. And of course, that just stuff just kind of mounts up. We never cut stuff. You know, nothing gets sort of shouldered off the side of the table so that we can focus on a small number of priorities. So easy to say, but very difficult to do.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a finance director who said to me years ago, it takes a very brave FD to remove a control. It's very, very easy to add another control or to add another initiative. It takes real courage to actually remove one.
Yeah,
I guess,
absolutely.
I guess something similar going on here. Talk to me about the challenges faced by marketeers. So I know you're working with marketing managers in FMCG and in many different sectors. What are the typical challenges they are facing right now?
Well, I mean, there's a multitude of challenges. I think if we look at the kind of the outside world, recruitment is tough. People are struggling to find good people and to keep those good people. I mean, I often think that marketing kind of boils down to it's about brands and it's about people, and they're interconnected. But those are the two big assets that you have as a marketeer, as a brand owner. So it's difficult to get hold of the right people. I think the second big challenge that's going on is just the amount of change in from a consumer point of view. So as we sit here today, there are quite some sort of challenging economic circumstances. So consumer behaviour is changing quite quick. People are switching from brands to own label. People are very price conscious. There are lots of behavioural changes happening in the market that the brand owner, the marketeer, needs to respond to. So I think those are two examples. You can also look at channels and customers, increasing movement away from big grocery stores to discounters in the UK, where I'm based. Different dynamics in different kind of countries, but those sorts of changes to the channel and the customer landscape will have a significant impact for brand owners. And those are just really probably three
Yeah.
from a long list of things
Yeah.
that are happening right now.
So, if somebody is in marketing and they're contemplating their own career development, what are the sorts of considerations that you would be flagging up to them?
I think I think it's really important to consider just to take time to consider the context in which you're operating, and it's a bit like trying to um, hold back the tide in a way. It's very easy to get kind of swept along. Marketing is a function that in my experience, really values action orientation, getting on and getting stuff done, doing stuff in order to get results. And that's attractive, and you do want dynamic people, but at the same time, you want to be pushing for the right things for the right results. So actually, what you need to do is to kind of slow down in order to go faster. So slow down, think about the context, That's important. What are you being asked to do? What's going on? So what's really going on? Dig beneath the surface. So you want to be looking for insights rather than just, observational kind of data. It's like, what's really going on? What's really driving behaviors? What are the root causes? Because if you can understand those, then those are the things that you try and tackle. And if you tackle those, then you'll have the impact. So it's tough, but it's a kind of a slow down. Think about the context. Make sure that you're clear about what the problem or challenge is that you're trying to identify before you then swing into kind of action mode.
Right. Hence your phrase, the meaningful few, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How did you arrive at that, Matt? What was your own journey to the art of the meaningful few?
That's a great question. I think it arrives out of probably some personal experience, but also observations. I've been working with clients now for around about 12 years, and prior to that, I was working in a variety of different corporate contexts. So I've understood, first of all, firsthand by running brands in big companies. I've understand the pressures that people are under and how this, how the environment kind of works. So I recognize that creates a lot of pressure on people. It's an environment that just naturally spawns new initiatives, and your work will never be done. It's kind of unfinished. So I think that's one thing, the kind of personal experience from working, running brands in corporates. I think secondly, having worked with clients for, as I say, sort of 11, 12 years, what I've noticed is that they too, just how easy it is to get sucked into what I call the kind of the trivial many, if you like, the things that can distract. But also, what the tremendous kind of impact and sense of energy and kind of positivity that comes from when you've spotted the right things to work on. It's just, there's a kind of human element as well. So there is a kind of a performance and a productivity angle, but there's also just seeing people that are working on stuff that they know is central to delivering value for the business or delivering value for customers, whoever it might be. When you're working in those areas, it's just so much more satisfying and I guess, it gives people a sense of purpose. So that's the sort of stuff that I've seen. And that's what excites me about working with people, partnering with people, if you like, in order to help them find those areas where they can have the biggest impact.
And what kind of work do you find most satisfying?
Well, I guess it's maybe an oversimplification, but I think it comes back down to brands and people. And I love both of those two kind of areas. And I love, because I think that they're quite powerful in combination to kind of drive business performance. I love working with people. I love working and in a variety of different ways. The ways that I tend to work are led by understanding where my clients are at, what challenges they face, and then together we'll put together a program of work. So sometimes that program of work is coaching people on a one-to-one basis, work with a client. We have regular coaching sessions, and the client is at sort of an executive kind of level. So I play that kind of a role with one client. I act as a bit of a thinking partner to another team. So if they want somebody to bounce ideas around, but I also do capability development. I also facilitate people's strategy and planning processes. So the stuff I do, I enjoy all of that kind of stuff, but it's ultimately led by where is the client and what is the challenge they're facing. And then together we'll put together a program that will address that.
Right. And if you had a crystal ball, and of course in marketing you have to have a crystal ball, right?
Yeah.
If you had a crystal ball and you were looking into the future, and obviously I'm thinking of the world of AI, etc., what does the future hold in marketing?
Well, I think it's easy to initially be quite anxious about the future, and most obviously to say, well, X jobs are going to disappear, and it's all kind of doom and gloom. But I think actually that the smart marketeer will be able to kind of navigate their way through, and if anything, get to a kind of better place. So you can use some of the tools like that AI kind of provides to speed up or to get better quality outcomes, kind of quicker. There are certain applications that I'm seeing where that's already happening. But fundamentally, and we shouldn't kind of we shouldn't be over worried about it, because actually the bit that people do, which is the kind of critical thinking, which AI can't currently do at the moment, it doesn't have this kind of general intelligence. It can't replace critical thinking. It can't replace the sort of human stuff associated with understanding consumers and buyers and so on. Understanding their motivations and behaviours. It can't currently do that. So, and I think it's very, very difficult to do that. So those sort of softer skills that marketeers rely upon, in combination with the harder skills, the business skills, I don't think it is a threat to those. In many ways, the marketeers that position themselves, in those areas where AI is going to have less of an impact, will ultimately be more successful.
Well, on that optimistic note, let's close for today. Thanks for joining me in the studio.
Thank you.